Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Hey, local business hackers. I'm your host, Director of Global Business Development at Referrizer, joined today by an awesome guest, Shafik Mina, CEO of 2Inspire Kids, which is a parent company of Mad Science and Crayola Imagine Arts Academy. Shafik, welcome to Local Business Hacks.
Carl, you're right. I love being here. It's a beautiful day. Let's go, baby.
Awesome. So I can imagine your journey to get to this point of CEO of this incredible company that you guys are shaping really our youth in so many different ways. Talk to us about this journey that got you to this point.
Oh, wow. You got time? All right. Well, I'll try to can it up quickly. I started my first business at 17. I was in university. I sold that at 19. I started my second business. I failed, but I learned. I went back, got a law degree, and then started practicing a large firm doing securities law, which is helping public companies stay compliant. Joined Mad Science's in-house counsel, did that for 2 years, then became president, and then became co-owner. And from there, founded 2Inspire and Crayola Imagine Arts Academy.
What an incredible journey to go from sitting in a law firm all day to now being able to shape our youth. It's pretty incredible. So talk to us about all of these organizations, what you guys do, and ultimately, how can people get involved?
Sure. So 2Inspire, it's in the name, right? Our goal is to inspire kids and get them engaged and expand their horizons. And we kind of done it for a long time with Mad Science. Mad Science was all about taking science, which is typically intimidating, and getting kids engaged and excited by it. And hopefully, if they're interested, pursue science careers. Crayola Imagine Arts Academy, Carl, when you look 15, 20 years down the road, AI is going to take a bigger place in our life. Computers are going to be even more powerful. So what we did a couple of years ago is, and that was the same thing, by the way, we did 30 years ago with science. Back then, it was just called science. Now it's called STEM, right? Everybody's like, STEM, STEM, STEM. We're like, okay, we'll go with it. But 30 years ago, we looked at the future and said, okay, we think kids that have STEM backgrounds are going to be able to get really good paying jobs. And it turned out we weren't too far off the mark. Well, we did that 3 years ago, and it's okay, with the advent of technology and the power of AI, what do the kids 15, 20 years from now need to have? What are the skills they need to have well-paying jobs? And we kind of narrowed it down to 4 or 5 skills. And they're not mind-blowing when you think about it, but it's collaboration, it's creativity, it's conflict resolution. And we said, okay, how do we teach these concepts to kids? And I'll tell you one thing I learned. This is really cool, Carl. So I used to think that creativity was something you had or you didn't have, right? And I didn't think myself as creative. I thought, I'm okay, but I'm not a creative type, right? So we did some research, and some really intelligent people today say creativity is a muscle. And the more you practice that creativity muscle, the more you'll define yourself as creative and effectively be creative. I'm like, oh boy, if that's true, well, we got to get kids practicing that creativity muscle from a very beginning, very young. So that's what we did. We created art programs that teach kids how to be creative, how to conflict solve, how to collaborate. And that's Crayola's Imagine Arts Academy.
I love massaging my right brain, both emotionally and physically. It's incredible. So Shafik, congrats, man. This is so incredible. Thank you for, hopefully in the future I get to use and be a case study with my own children. But it's amazing. How can people get involved? Where are you guys located? Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So Mad Science is a global company. We're in 20 plus countries right now. There's a few available territories. The best way to find out if Mad Science is available in your area is go to our website, madscience.org. And if you're looking for activities for your kids, you'll be able to kind of filter down quickly and see what's available. And if there isn't, maybe it's the business for you. So that's Mad Science. On the other side, Crayola Imagine Arts Academy. So it launched in 2019. We have about 20 franchises in the UK. We're looking for franchisees. But again, go to our website, imagineartsacademy.com. If you're looking for activities for your kids, great. If not, if there's no Imagine Arts Academy, think about bringing it to your territory, because you know what, Carl? The running joke is people say, what do you do? I say, I'm a recovering attorney. And I say that not because I love my experience in law, but having built Crayola Imagine Arts Academy, I say, if this program existed when I was a kid, I don't know. Maybe I'd still been a lawyer or a business person, but maybe my trajectory would have been different. Yeah, check it out. Actually, both concepts are awesome. It's like you have kids. I have two kids, right? You can't choose who's your favorite kid. So that's where I'm at. I love math science and I love Imagine Arts Academy for different reasons.
And clearly, 20 countries globally, something's working. So that's amazing. I'd love to roll right into what's working and what got you to here through our podcast, Local Business Hacks. So I invite you to share some stories that really opened up that toolkit and that you wish that you knew when you started.
Awesome. So there's two mantras that I live by, Carl, and it's what took me from being an employee to being a president to being an owner. And I try to mentor kind of the younger generation, whether it's people or emerging companies. And for people, I say, listen, if you're going to go take a job, you got to treat that job like it's your business, like it's your money on the line. So if you're going to produce a piece of work or do something, is it good enough? If it was your business, is it good enough? And just that mindset of how you position yourself in a company was a game changer for me. That was quickly recognized. It was appreciated by the people I worked for, and it helped me grow. So that's on one side. And the other side is I never assume I'm the smartest guy in the room. Matter of fact, I try not to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to surround myself with people who are smarter than me in the respective experience or expertise. And I tell them, if I know more about what you do, then guess what? I probably don't need you. So that's my two hacks for your audience is surround yourself with people who are smarter than you and be a sponge. Learn. Failure is part of success. It's not negative, it's positive. And the world's your oyster.
Thanks, Shafik. We'd love to hear some stories that really shaped, your future to where it is today.
Sure. So listen, I came from the school of hard knocks. I told you I started my first business at 17, and then I started my second business at 19. Well, I'll tell you what, my first business was a complete disaster, failure. My second business, complete disaster, failure. Not because the business itself was failure, it's because I didn't know what I was doing. At 17 years old, well, I'll tell you what, at 17, I thought I was the next Bill Gates. I really did. I said, I'm making something, the whole world is going to want it, and it's a no-brainer. And I just chugged along. I worked really hard, really, really hard. And I failed. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know why I failed at that time. So I wound the business down and I took 6 months break. And I said, no, I'm not a quitter. I'm going to do it again. And I was approached by somebody I'd worked a long time ago. And they said, look, we've heard about your past business. It's struggled. Let's do this again in a different market niche. So we went a little bit up market. I was a caterer. I had started a sandwich business in university, right? This is how it all started. A sandwich business in university. The guy who was supplying the coffee shop I was working for didn't show up. I said, wait, I can make sandwiches. Next thing, I have a warehouse with 6 people. We're making sandwiches. Yeah, what the hell? I'm studying political science. I'm a sandwich guy now, right? Anyways, that was the first business. Forward a little bit, a couple of years, and the guy I worked for many years ago comes, he says, well, I knew you're in the sandwich business, but coffee shops are becoming trendy. We can make cakes. And he was a pastry guy, right? I wasn't a pastry guy. I was the sandwich guy. He says, we'll make cakes together and we'll use your client base and your knowledge. I said, let's do this. So I do that with him for a couple of years. And then he says, look, this is fun, but I don't want to work for myself. I'm like, what do you mean? We're partners. Anyways, short story. My father buys the business. But my father buys a minority. This is a cool story. My father buys a minority of the business, right? I'm the majority owner, and I'm like 22 at that point in time. And the business is struggling. It's struggling. I mean, we're selling. I'm out there selling. I'm coming back. We're making cakes. I learned how to make cakes along the way, right? What are you going to do? But we're struggling and we make decisions. And I'm like, okay, well, I think this is a strategy we have to take. And my dad was like, well, I don't agree. We have to go left. I say, well, we have to go right. He's like, well, And then, you kind of try to say it as gently as possible with as low a tone as possible. So, Dad, yeah, I get it. We agree to disagree. But since I'm the majority shareholder, we're going to go this way. And my dad would kind of pause for a second and say, yeah, but since I'm your father, we're going to go that way.
Ooh.
So that was the game, right? And we did that for a while. Of course, that was a recipe for disaster. I loved my dad too much to let that come in between us. So I ended up killing the company. Because my choice was either lose my family or lose my business. And I wasn't going to lose my family. But it was easy to kill the company because it wasn't wildly successful. Remember, I told you I wanted to be Bill Gates, and that wasn't happening. I was going to be the Bill Gates of cakes. That wasn't happening. But I'll tell you what I learned. I learned that all those things I did in failing in my first two businesses were hard-earned lessons. And when I went to law school and I came back and I started working in math science, it's like I had a war chest of data, of information that I could tap into. When there was a problem, it's like I had a super lens. I could see it differently. I could approach it differently. And then it's funny because it was almost 8 years later that I realized why my businesses failed. And when I say it out loud, it's shocking. Yeah. So my businesses failed when I was 17 and 19 because I made a lot of revenue, but I didn't manage my expenses. So my profit was zero or none. So it doesn't matter that at 17, I had a business that sold for $500,000. The expense on these things were $475. So the least mistake, boom, profit gone. So that was my Eureka moment. I said, okay, I could be a hard worker. I could be smart. But if I don't surround myself with people who know what they're talking about so they can help me, then I made that mistake back then because I didn't have financial literacy. I was just a guy who started a business. So that's why I go back to my second point, is surrounding yourself with people. Because now I have a team. I have my financial guy and I count on him to tell me where the numbers at, where our profit margins are. I have my marketing people. They do their thing. So that, the best lessons you learn, the ones you retain the most, Carl, it's when it hurts. When it hurts, you keep that. So failing twice has been my badge of honor that has helped me now turn it around. And I might not be the Bill Gates of cakes, but we're doing pretty well on the education space. And I'm happy to say we're probably the leading company in the world in science enrichment. So somehow, some crooked way, I got there.
Well, I'm proud of you for paying the idiot tax and most importantly, learning from it, because that's what life is. It's okay to make mistakes. Just don't keep doing the same thing.
Yes, it's funny. I love that. And that's another thing I repeat. I said in my team, I say, guys, we can make mistakes. The only thing I ask of you is just don't make it twice, right? Yep. Learn from your mistake and internalize it, take all the learning and move forward. So I love what you said.
Agreed. Shafik, so incredible. Thank you for sharing that story with us. I would love to know, my personal clients that I've been working with for a while are in your space as well, whether it be Code Ninjas, Bricks for Kids. How does Inspire and Mad Science and all these organizations stay ahead of the competition and continue to innovate?
So I think it starts. So first of all, I'll tell you something. I think some of the companies you mentioned are awesome. I believe in healthy competition. I'm never the person who's going to knock my competition down. If anything, I look at my competition and say, if they're awesome, how do we be that awesome or better? So, and there's a tremendous amount of needs there. Kids need to learn about coding. So Code Ninja, good job. They're doing that. Bricks for Kids are trying to get kids to learn about engineering concepts. Awesome. There's room for all of us. That's, first of all, kind of my starting mentality on this. So how do we stay ahead of the curve in our space? It's the kids. We test everything with the kids. You know what's awesome about kids? Awesome, mind-blowing, and you got to be ready for it. They're brutally honest.
Oh, yeah.
Kids, my kids, they'll look at you in the face and say, this sucks. So we could have an R&D team who's worked on 3 months on this really cool program, and then we run it through a group of kids. We call it our kids advisory board, right? We just bring random kids, whether from our people who work for us, or we make a call out. And the kids come into our offices and they test the program. And I sit in the room in the back really quietly. And sometimes it really happens. And I love those moments because they're learning moments, right? The kids will do the program and say, this is boring. And you could see the R&D person kind of sweating, or this sucks. But that's learning, right? You got to stay true to your mantras. If you see that as negative, then it's the killer. But if you see it as honest feedback, well, it allows you to go back and make it better. So that's how we stay our competition. We are open to criticism. We talk to our customers. We involve them in the process. And of course, our customers are the kids. And that has helped us stay ahead of the curve.
What an answer. Kids are brutally honest. I never thought about that. It could be the most honest case study that you'll ever get. Soon we're going to have a
they don't sugarcoat it. And when it's awesome, they'll tell you. I mean, our wins when you put something in front of a kid and they go, wow. Then we're like, okay, we got a winner. That's a winner. When a kid says, wow, that's a winner. So that's what we strive for, that wow in children.
That's incredible. Shafik, I'm going to turn a little bit to your personal side, if that's okay. I've heard some of the coolest, craziest, most insane morning routines on this show that I could ever imagine. I'm going to prompt you to share with us, what's your morning routine look like? And ultimately, how does it enable you to stay motivated and excited to come to work every day?
Well, look, I don't know if it's going to be exciting, but I'll share it with you. And it's helped me. So I try to get up at 6 o'clock. And, after I do my hygiene routine, the first thing I do is actually sit down for 5-10 minutes and stare outside my window. And the reason I do that is because it helps me almost reset my brain. I'm putting myself in the frame of mind that I want to be in, and that's calm and concentrated. So that's kind of my first goal. Before anything, I try to get up a little before the rest of my household because it's chaotic. I got 3 kids. It's chaos. But that 5 minutes allows me to just kind of, if you want, focus. And then after that, I try to scan my emails very quickly because I think I've learned over time that you can manage through email, and that just becomes a task list. And it doesn't let you do the strategic thinking. So I scan that very quickly, and I'm only looking for what I call red flags, like the house is burning down, we got to tackle this. Right. Luckily, there's not a lot because
that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. So typically that exercise is very quick. And then I'm planning my day in my mind. That has made entire difference. I want to contrast that when I wasn't doing that. I'd get up, get dressed, rush, have a coffee, rush to the office and get on that wheel and then jump off the wheel to come back home. And I realized that I was being reactive rather than proactive. So that's been a game changer for me.
That's awesome. Shafik, when we talk about partnerships and grassroots advertising, everybody preaches the importance of grassroots. And I can imagine that it's something that you guys teach to all of your franchisees in every market. What have been some truly valuable partnerships that your organizations have formed that have proven to be just amazing?
So I think without a question, the number one most important partnership for math science is our relationship with NASA. There's not a lot of companies in our space that have a NASA, and even more so, we're a Canadian-based company, and we have a relationship with NASA, which is based in the US. And that relationship started in 2006. I can't take credit for it. My partners at the time did it. But it has been an awesome partnership and a game changer for us, 2 ways. One, because the NASA brand is awesome and it allows us to get a lot of credibility. 2, because NASA, when you start working with NASA and you realize at what level they're operating, it makes you up your game. You can't accept okay. It has to be awesome. You don't get to the moon or you don't fly a rocket by it being okay. And it's funny, I've had the privilege of seeing some really cool stuff at NASA. I really have. I could tell you some cool stories, but you understand once you spend time with them that okay doesn't cut it, right? So that's a partnership that has been invaluable for us. We're very grateful for it, and we work hard to deliver value for our partner.
That's awesome.
That's on the math science side. I got to give credit to Crayola because our name is Crayola Imagine Arts Academy. We're not a Crayola company, but we partnered up with Crayola, and Crayola had seen what we've done on the science side. And when we told them what we want to do on the art side and explained to them, we just don't want to be another art program. We want to be an art platform that teach kids critical skills. Well, they've been an awesome partner for us. And again, I think Imagine Arts Academy wouldn't be what it'd be without Crayola.
What a name. What both names. Like, that's incredible. Shout out to you guys. I mean, to have a brand that has such credibility in the world to continue to back you is obviously a testament to what you guys are providing from an end user's perspective. So
thank you, Carl.
High five.
High five, my man.
This has been my favorite question. For those of you listening, I appreciate the feedback on this one. Shafik, if you were to have dinner with any historical figure from the past or present, who would it be and what would you talk about?
So I've been asked, I've thought about that question, and I think I would go with Elon Musk. And I'll tell you why. Elon Musk got a lot of quirks, and there's a lot of things I don't agree with. But there's one thing I do appreciate about Elon Musk. I don't like his politics, but I like this about him. And he's amazing. He's a disruptor. His ability to look at something and attack it from a perspective that nobody has attacked it from before. I have tremendous amount of respect for that. So I would love to pick his brain about what he thinks of education today, right? I have my perspectives of what we can do to fix education. How do we get our kids to be competitive on a global scale? But I'd love to hear his perspective. There's something about how he sees things and how he problem solves or hacks, right? Your show's about hacking. He seems to have a knack for hacking industries he gets into. And I think education is due for a hack.
Hell yeah, it is. Hey, team, let's get this podcast in front of Mr. Musk himself. I think we can make that happen. What a cool answer. By the way, we've had Elon brought up maybe 5 or 6 times as that question, but never an answer in this space. And I think this is totally the most valuable thing that we could do.
Yeah, look, education hasn't changed tremendously for many years, but the needs of the workforce have changed. So I think it's time for a change. I'm not smart enough to do it, but you get me on the right track, I make it happen.
I love that. Shafik, I'm going to end with one last question, and that's, how do you define success? I believe you consider yourself a successful man. At what point did you go from being Shafik to Shafik?
So to me, honestly, I've been lucky that financially I've always been able to provide for my family and live a comfortable life. The moment where I realized I was successful had nothing to do with money, Carl. It really didn't. The moment I realized I was successful, and it's not that I realized I was successful, I realized that I had a talent. And my talent, it gave me success that made me proud, right? So that's the equation to get there, is that when I realized that I can inspire people to achieve beyond their expectations. So that to me is my success. When I get somebody, and that's why I've chosen over the years to mentor other companies and to mentor individuals, because when I get somebody that thinks that they can, I don't know, I'm a basketball fan. So they shoot 5 points a game. And you show them a way, or you show them that they have the capacity to shoot 15, 20 points a game. And then that kind of confidence, that's gold. That I'll trade that anytime for money. And somehow that has translated into money for me, right? Because that's what I do that for people, and then they want to work harder for you, and then everybody kind of wins. So that's to me I'm not a guy who likes to toot his horn, but I think that's success for Shafik.
What an answer. Shafik, I can't thank you enough, from our team all over the globe and everybody all over the world that's going to listen to this podcast. How can they get connected with you? LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook? What's the best way?
Carl, I don't reject anybody on LinkedIn, so feel free to find me out. Shafik Mina, 2Inspire, you'll find me. If you reach out, I'll accept you anytime, and I'm always there to help. Like I said, life's give and take. You give, and then eventually you get to take. But focus on the giving first. So reach out. My pleasure. Any way I can help. And Carl, this has been an awesome interview. I've done a lot of these, but I don't know. When we started off, I told you got some great energy, and somehow that brought the energy in me. And it's 9:30 in the morning. So good on you. That was an awesome podcast. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And Shafik Mina, we appreciate it. We'll be following, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business, just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep hacking.